Hello everybody, how's it going? Tornado Soup here. So, I just finished watching the second episode of Titans, and I wanted to get into that review that I mentioned a while ago. I was going to do it after the first episode, but the first episode was kind of weird. I figured I'd wait till now. Basically, thoughts on the first episode are, it was pretty good. The action was pretty good, acting was good, writing, everything was just like it was in Season 1. In fact, it was pretty much just the season finale of Season 1. It felt a little weird getting it so much later, actually. That's my only real problem with it. It feels disjointed now because it was severed from the rest of the season. And then going into Episode 2, it feels even more disjointed because 1 week later, and we've got a 3-month time jump, and basically everything that you would happen, or expect to happen, expect to happen in between seasons, happens in between episodes. So it just kind of messes with the flow and makes the whole thing weird. But I'm glad I waited because Episode 2 was so much better than Episode 1, and I really wanted to give this an overall positive opinion. It still is. Even just the first episode is great. So, I'm going to go into some non-spoilery stuff right now. If you haven't seen it, then you can watch this. Then, and I'll put a time code on the screen somewhere, gesturing as if you can see the screen. You can't. Not with my hand. You can't see my hand. There's no camera on. But I'll put a time code as to when the spoilery stuff will start. Alright, so nothing gets ruined or spoiled. So first of all, the first episode, like I said, it was great. I loved the first season. It felt like I shouldn't. Every part of my brain, every logical part of my brain told me that I should hate it. Usually I hate the dark and gritty reinterpretations of characters that don't really need to be reinterpreted. But I loved it. I don't love it. I don't like it at all when superheroes kill. And yet Robin was killing every episode, and I still loved it. I don't really know why. Even now, I'm trying to figure out why I liked the show so much, and I can't. I mean, there are smaller things, like Robin's killing was explained in a way similar to Batman and Batman vs. Superman, or at least what it feels like Zack Snyder was trying to do, where obviously killing is not what the characters want to do, and it's a perversion of their message, of what they're trying to be. I feel like Titans gets that across better, though. Like, there's action sequences where Robin is brutal. He's killing people, he's murdering people, and you don't really want to see it. And the show kind of doesn't want you to see it either. It's not like, oh, this is a cool fight scene. It is a cool fight scene, but that's not the main focus. There are times where the focus is the agony that Robin is going through killing these people. Like, he can't really do anything else. He's been pushed too far, but he doesn't like that he's been pushed this far. Whereas with Dawn of Justice, yeah, the idea is that Batman didn't use to kill, that he's been pushed far beyond what he was supposed to be doing. But then every time he kills somebody, it's just a cool action sequence. And yeah, it's a cool action sequence, but he's murdering people. Generally, that's not okay for Batman. Maybe that wasn't Zack Snyder's original intention. I know there was a lot of studio meddling with that movie, but it seems to work better in Titans. So, I loved this show. But I also watched all of it before watching Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing. So my expectations were way lower. Alright? When I first heard about most of the stuff that happened in Titan Season 1, it sounded ridiculous to me. Like I said, it sounds like everything I should hate. So my expectations going into it were very low. I ended up binge watching the whole thing in the 1 week free trial back in January. I liked it that much. But that was before Doom Patrol and Swamp Thing. Doom Patrol is amazing and is one of my favorite shows of all time. And I haven't finished Swamp Thing yet because it's not really in my favorite genre. It doesn't really pull me in like Titans and Doom Patrol did. But I can still tell it's really good. It's like one of those things where I don't enjoy it as much, but it is objectively fantastic. At least the first 2 episodes were what I saw. So, now that I've seen what the DC Universe shows can be like, Titans has a higher bar to reach. So I was a little nervous about this season. Like, maybe now that there's something to compare it to, it won't be all that good. But I still really enjoyed it. It picks right back off where season 1 left off, which, like I said, is weird. It disjoints it a little, but it finishes off well. A little anticlimactic, but not terrible. Certainly better than what I was expecting on the budget that it has. So I don't really hold it against it. It would have been cool to have like a fight scene of some sort, but I get it. Yeah, so character development and all that stuff needs to be worked on. But it's hard to do that in just one episode. It's hard to, and I'm not supposed to be reviewing season 1, even though that's what most of the video's been so far. But yeah, episode 1 was really good. Then we get to episode 2, and it is so much better. Alright, it feels like the closest thing I can think of, and it's not a great metaphor, but it's what I'm going with. Titans is like an unbaked cake. When we first heard about all the information and stuff going into it before it premiered, it was like a bunch of raw ingredients that were just being tossed into the bowl. Then, things started, then we saw the trailer and it started to get stirred up, and we couldn't tell what it was. There's the whole thing that Robin says about Batman that I'm not going to repeat. And it was weird. It was like this goopy mess sort of thing. Then we saw season 1 and it was like poured into the pan and like it started to take shape, and there were ideas of where it was trying to go, and there's a resemblance to the actual Teen Titans, but it wasn't quite there. There was something off. And then season 1, the cake is in the oven now, and it's starting to like turn into more of a cake. It's starting to harden up, but it's still a little off. Episode 2, the cake is like starting to really form. It's starting to come together. It's still a little soft, still a little mushy in the center, but it's starting to become the Teen Titans cake we recognize. Like I said, I know it's a terrible metaphor, but it's the best thing I could come up with, especially since this is unscripted and I'm just talking into a microphone. Yeah, there was some pretty good action in this episode. Some pretty good dialogue. Acting was pretty good again. This isn't spoiler zone yet, but stuff between Donna and Starfire was pretty cool. I like seeing that. And there was a little bit more in way of character progression. Not necessarily for like Beast Boy or them, but Robin, Dick Grayson, not Robin anymore. But I feel weird just calling him Dick. But yeah, he started to progress a little. Raven, the same way. They were throwing in a little bit more for Jason. Hawk and Dove got their own little section of the episode. And it was shorter. The episode's like 40 minutes with the previously on and credits and everything. So it was shorter than, the average episode of Doom Patrol, but I think it kind of works. It could have been, they could have made it longer. They could have made it 50, 60 minutes, and then there would have been a bunch of filler and unnecessary stuff, whereas everything felt like it had its place in this episode, which is good to see. It's not like you're just padding it for runtime, which is cool. Alright, so right now we're going into spoiler zone. So, warning, This is the final warning. Okay? The spoiler zone. Right? You can go off to another video if you want. I would love it if you went to my video. Maybe like, subscribe, comment, yada yada yada. It's just to get away from this video. It's for your own good. It's Sanctuary. Another video of mine in the comment section is Sanctuary. Okay, you're welcome. Now, so off the bat, episode 1, Trigon is awesome. Alright, I never thought they were gonna do, antler, four-eyed Trigon. And I mean, sure, if I were designing Trigon, I probably would have done some things different. But I'm also not a professional designer. And obviously there are things, it would have been cooler if he was like a bright red. But also, I don't know that would look as menacing in live action and CGI. When George Perez drew it, yeah, it was pretty menacing, but it's a comic book. So there are things that obviously need to change when transferring from page to screen. So I get it. But that CGI was great. At least better than I would have expected. Better than I would have expected Trigon to look on this show. That's really all I have for... Oh, yeah. And then the one thing that really bothered me in this episode, the thing... And it's such a minor thing, but I keep coming back to it every time I think about it. So they go to San Francisco. Well, I guess for some background, for those of you who haven't seen it, but didn't go to the sanctuary of another one of my videos or the comment section. So Titans defeat Trigon, yada yada yada, and Dick Grayson goes to see Batman, who looks like Alfred for some reason, but whatever. And they're talking, and Dick decides he wants to put the Titans back together. He's got Jason and Beast Boy and Raven, and they're all, ragtag group, and they don't really have anywhere to go, so he's going to give them somewhere to go. So they decide to go to San Francisco, to Titan's Tower. There's a few problems I have with this. I would have preferred Titan's Tower was in New York, but alright, San Francisco, it's been there before in the comics. Not the traditional home, but whatever. Titan's Tower wasn't even really a thing for the original Teen Titans anyway, so they're changing things. Cool. Then they pan out. Well, then the new Titans, Jason, Beast Boy, Raven, are exploring and looking around. There's training, and there's a place where the suits went, and it's all really cool. And then they get to the window, and they're overlooking the city, and they're panning out. And then you feel like it's going to be Titan's Tower we're familiar with. You feel like it's going to be what we know. And it pulls out, and it's just a building. And there was all that build-up, and it's just a building. It could have been any other building in San Francisco. I'm not 100% sure, when we go and see episode 2, which building Titan's Tower is. I know a giant T is kind of a dead giveaway, but also, I just wanted the giant T. There's so much real quote-unquote realism in the show. Why couldn't we just, give a little leeway for the T? Alright, you're trying to explain all this stuff, great, but can you just give us the T? But that's it. That's the only real problem I had with this episode, besides the disjointed stuff. And that was, as far as I know, that was budgetary restraints, and there were problems, and it wasn't necessarily the creative team's fault. Then at the end of the episode, we get to see Deathstroke, and I mean, we haven't really gotten to see him act as Deathstroke yet. He had a few lines, but it's kind of hard to tell from that, But man, does he look like Deathstroke. He is almost like an exact copy of George Perez's Deathstroke. He's got the beard and the gray hair and the eye patch, and he looks old and grizzled, like a war-weary soldier. And, I mean, so far, he's my favorite live-action Deathstroke. He hasn't even done anything yet. He's my favorite live-action Deathstroke. So, Then we go into episode 2. I don't really know that there's that much to talk about. It was cool to see Rose. She hasn't gotten much time outside of the comics. She was in like one episode of Teen Titans Go, or a couple maybe. I don't know how much that really counts though. But she was cool. She had, they're building up to her to be a cool character. Dr. Light was in it, which kind of came out of nowhere. But I'm really glad he was in it because I feel like Dr. Light always gets a bunch of flack for no reason. I mean, for reasons he went from being a complete loser to an unjustifiably awful person for no reason. But like, it was just cool to see him back and in a new form, because he's not used a whole bunch, and he's a classic Titans villain. So I'm glad to have him. Like I said, Starfire and Donna stuff was really cool. Nothing really much in the way of spoilers for this episode. My only real problem, another real problem besides Titans Tower, and I don't know that this is necessarily a problem, because it could come up, be addressed, and be fine in later episodes. But Season 1 ends with a tease of Superboy and Crypto. They are featured heavily in promotional material in the trailers. They haven't shown up at all. Like, there's not even a scene at the end of the episode where it's trying to explain what's going on. I just want to see Crypto, okay? Once they introduce me to the idea of a live-action Crypto, that's all I've cared about. I don't really care about Titans anymore. I just want a live-action Crypto, okay? The more I think about it, the more mad I get that he wasn't introduced into Supergirl at some point, because everything about that makes more sense. But where's Crypto? Alright, I get it, storytelling and all that stuff, but where's Crypto? Just once, I want to forget about standards of storytelling and making sure that character development and all that stuff is correct, and crafting a well-told and intricate tale of friendship or blah blah blah. I want a dog with lasers coming out of his eyes, okay? And I'm sure he's gonna come up eventually, and that'll be cool. Alright, so yeah, overall these first 2 episodes have been really good. I don't think any of them have passed Doom Patrol yet. Alright, so first episode I would have given like 7 bowls of soup out of 10, but with the second in there, like, second's probably going to be 9 bowls of soup out of 10, so overall I would say 8 bowls of soup out of 10. Still a weird rating system, but so if you haven't seen Titans yet, I would highly recommend it. It's not for everybody, I get it. There are many flaws with it, I totally understand that. But there is something really enjoyable about it, even if it is just seeing Robin in live action in something other than Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, because that was the last time he had a major appearance in live action, which is kind of sad. So it's good to see him back. But yeah, so it's great. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on DC Universe. I highly recommend it. That's all I have for right now. Thanks for sitting through this. Unless you went to the safety of another video, which I also appreciate you, but if you did that, then you're not listening to this. So, yeah, thank you for watching and putting up with me. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Have a good day, and goodbye, everybody.